Hello and welcome to a new episode of B-Movie Enema the series. I'm your B-Movie proctologist, Jeff Arbuckle, and this week we're headed to the jungle where we'll stumble upon the missing link and meet the Mistress of the Apes. Now with me as always is our very own princess of the primates, Nurse Disembodied. Nurse, how are you doing? What's the matter, Nurse?
This is unprofessional at best and downright embarrassing at worst.
What? You look great, very feisty, quite fierce.
I feel like a piece of meat.
well, that can't be repeated without the human resources getting involved.
Why do I have to wear this leopard print outfit?
Because this week's movie features a lady who becomes the queen of a tribe of missing links.
But not once in this movie does she wear anything like this. No loincloths or anything like that. You've basically got me out here in the clinic in a leopard print halter top, a mini skirt, and you aren't even letting me wear shoes. This is gross. How am I supposed to help any of our patients like this?
I mean, it still goes pretty well with this week's movie.
Does this spear go well with this movie? Does the spear make my job easy? Does it not scare the holy hell out of the people who come into a proctology clinic? Would you feel good if you had to get your butt checked out and I came in looking like this?
Yeah, I know, Poop Shoot. That's a tough decision. I mean, the outfit is good. The look does suit her.
With this spear?
Well, I mean, Poop Shoot is nervous about that, but I would try anything once.
Jeff!
Sorry. Look, I don't know. Just hang out like this for a little bit. Be the mascot of this episode for now.
I feel like this is incredibly inappropriate.
Probably, but this is my own mind prison, and I'm the one who will likely catch the shit. I mean, beyond the shit that Poop Shoot shoots out and what you're giving me right now.
Let's just talk about the movie and let's get past this as fast as possible.
Okay, so Mistress of the Apes is a 1979 jungle exploitation flick, and I don't even know if that's a thing, but it kind of is. This made it out before the big old mess that is Tarzan the Ape Man, which starred Bo Derek, and was basically not really about Tarzan, but about Jane Parker and her weird-ass relationship with her father, and naturally the director's relationship with his star instead. Mistress of the Apes certainly had a nice promotional angle with this poster. I mean, you know, I'll just get it right out there and say that this is a beautiful poster. It's incredibly well painted. The rendition of Jenny Newman, our titular Mistress of the Apes, is attractive as all get out.
At least you gave me a top to wear.
Now see, you're coming around already. This was Jenny Newman's first starring role in a film. She had been in a few TV shows and movies before landing this role, and let's face it, she's gorgeous. But she really only had about a 10-year career in acting. However, she did a lot with that decade. She was in this movie, but then Stage Fright, but not the great giallo slasher, another that also went by the title of Nightmares as well. Now, check out this string of shows that she guest starred on. The Dukes of Hazzard, Charlie's Angels, Fantasy Island, The Misadventures of Sheriff Lobo, BJ and the Bear, Voyagers, The A-Team, and then she had the character of Barbara in V and the sequel series V, The Final Battle. Now, her role in V is probably the one that you'll find most of the pictures for her, because if it isn't her low-cut red top from her appearance in the Dukes of Hazzard, or a picture of her modeling in a bikini, it's a pic of her in V, where she's clearly changing clothes, and you just see her in her bra. She was a member of the alien race that came to Earth looking to conquer it, but it turns out that she was a high-ranking member of the resistant group within the Visitors called the Fifth Column. So she was an alien, a real hot lizard lady, but a good alien who wanted to help us defeat the bad ones. Now, Newman was in another cult classic, the horror film Hell Night. Now, that starred Linda Blair and had a decent amount of popularity through several cable showings throughout the 80s. She did have a small part in the Richard Benjamin film My Favorite Year that starred Peter O'Toole. She really didn't do a whole lot, but she did have some decent roles. Now we're going to get started on this movie, and then when we get back, we're going to talk about the director of this movie, Larry Buchanan. But Nurse, are you hanging in there?
I stepped on something and it was slimy, weirdly warm, and I'm not very happy.
I am sorry about that, nurse, but in the jungle, it's not likely that you would have shoes.
Also, it's December, and this isn't exactly the most comfortable of outfits.
Well, I mean jungles.
Don't say it. Don't you dare say jungles don't get cold.
Okay, fine, I'll see what I can come up with, but let's get rolling on this movie and then come back to this in a little bit. Look, I know the costume idea was maybe not one of my best, most well thought out idea that I've ever had, but there's got to be some way I can make it up to you.
Let me change out of this costume.
Yeah, about that.
What now?
So this morning when we left to come in, I know you said to make sure to bring the duffel bag with the extra uniform.
Yeah?
I kind of didn't bring it.
Oh, god damn it!
I honestly didn't think you'd have this much of a problem with the costume. I thought it would be fun.
I cannot believe this. You owe me big time, mister.
I know. I will. Anything you want, I'll do it. Just take the expense account, set yourself up with something nice, and I'll deal with this first act of Mistress of the Apes.
Oh, I will.
Now, you gotta love a movie that has a title card in a different font than the rest of the credits. On top of that, you have all sorts of drama happening in this hospital in a jungle somewhere in the eastern seaboard. It's New York City. It's just New York City. Anyway, to illustrate the dangers of this American urban jungle, we have a couple of coppers talking about how New York is the most dangerous city in the country. We have a woman, Susan Jameson, that's played by Jenny Newman, having a miscarriage, and we have armed robbers. Now, why are they robbing a hospital? I don't actually know. I want to say it was for the painkillers there, but I don't know if we actually see them do that. They shoot and kill the two cops that were outside 1 second and then inside immediately after the bad guys showed up. What does this have to do with anything? Well, nothing at all, really. They escape. Then Susan is visited by a bearded friend who has a lot of belly, a pretty good beard, and not much in terms of knowing how to properly read his lines. Same. Susan has a missing husband in the Congo, and she wants to go and find him. What they discover is what her husband found. Bush people who are not quite human and definitely more than ape. So it's off to Africa to find Susan's husband. Now, Beardo has some shady connections with a shady guide, and how does all of that connect? Well, let me tell you. This movie was made by the self-proclaimed schlockmeister Larry Buchanan. While Buchanan's films often landed on worst of lists across many critics' year-end reviews, and his movies are almost all in the public domain, pretty much all of them either broke even at the box office or made profits. Now, if you really want to know how bad this guy's movies were, let me read this excerpt from the New York Times obituary of the man. Quote, "One quality united Mr. Buchanan's diverse output. It was not so much that his films were bad. They were deeply, dazzlingly, unrepentantly bad. His work called to mind a famous line from H.L. Mencken, who, describing President Warren G. Harding's prose, said, 'It's so bad that a sort of grandeur creeps into it.'" So yeah, this guy's movies were pretty bad, but many of them gained cult status as so bad they're good movies. He's not without some quite recognizable movies that you can see very easily on several streaming platforms due to them being in the public domain. His best known films are probably Zontar, The Thing from Venus, which was a remake of Roger Corman's That Conquered the World, Attack of the Eye Creatures, Mars Needs Women, In the Year 2889, which is another remake of a Corman movie called The Day the World Ended, and Curse of the Swamp Creature. Now, how are you doing over there, nurse? Buchanan was known for doing a shit ton of day for night footage. That's when you either shoot in low light during the day, like in a shaded area like a forest, or by simply slapping a blue gel over the camera lens to simulate darkness. Another thing he was quite well known for was making monsters that had eyes made out of ping pong balls. To be honest with you, this is my kind of guy. Maybe one of his more iffy and clearly exploitative titles was The Trial of Lee Harvey Oswald. Now, this came out in 1964, about a year after Oswald killed Kennedy. Of course, Oswald was killed by the gangster Jack Ruby. So this movie is a speculative trial drama. And there is no conclusion to the movie. You, as the viewer, are to act as the jury. And like any good over-the-top exploitation film, there's always some sort of an expert that talks directly to the audience. So you are instructed by a real-life Dallas defense attorney to debate with the others who watch the movie. Considering the movie was made only months after JFK and Oswald were both killed, I think you can probably definitely say that Buchanan was really trying to cash in and chasing the frenzy over the confusion and anger of the time shortly after that terrible November morning in Dallas. Now, 20 years later, Buchanan would make another bonkers movie called Down on Us. Now, this was about a government plot to kill Jim Morrison, Janis Joplin, and Jimi Hendrix. Now, why would the government do this? Why, it's for their message and how it was received by the younger generations that, of course, caused rebellion. There is one thing that this movie posits that I admit I had actually heard before, probably due to this movie, that Jim Morrison faked his death to regain his privacy. In fact, I think that's said a lot about Kurt Cobain, too. All right, so, Nurse, what say you? Should we get back to Mistress of the Apes? Oh, here. There's a note. Let's see what this has to say.
Dear Jeff, I am taking some much-needed vacation time. There's probably some frozen pizzas or leftovers or something for you to have back at the house while I'm gone. I'll call you when I get settled. Have fun with the rest of this shitty movie, and don't ever dress me up in a stupid costume like a jungle woman ever again. XOXO, cartoon face.
Well, okay, I guess it's just you and me, Poop Shoot. Indeed. So, Nurse, what do you think? Movie actually shot on location in Africa? Yeah, I'm pretty sure it wasn't either. I kind of think this movie is pretty damn boring. Again, look at this poster. Look at how well painted and kind of epic this movie looks. Simply seeing this poster would make me want to see this, if for nothing else, the girl alone. I mean, I'm not a complete creep, but come on. Between the ages of, say 13 and 44, I would want to see who this woman is in this movie. No, I'm not a creeper. You're completely misrepresenting me. Well, that's what you think. Anyway, this movie is a lot of talking and some pseudo-philosophical shit about nature, letting cultures remain unmolested, and so on. Then they walk. You see some boobs, but in weird scenarios, like when Susan gets ready for bed, she puts on her nightshirt, but conveniently doesn't button it. Then you have the black girl guiding the group, bathing in a lake or river or something, and I guess she only wants to bathe from the waist down because, well, she's fully tits out to show her boobs. Then there's a whole lot of walking and looking through binoculars. It's a fairly boring movie, but you know what it reminds me of, Nurse? Exactly, Oasis of the Zombies. In that, you had a group of people on the search for something the son of the recently deceased found. What they find is pretty dangerous. In that movie, it's zombies. In this movie, it's the missing link. A woman is also supposedly trying to find her missing husband. That's the entire premise of this whole goddamn movie. There's just not a whole lot happening around this plot. There are some pretty unsavory things. Of course, there's rape. That's a particularly common thing in these movies. But then there's a particularly weird moment when Susan finds a baby missing link just crying in the bush. So she just plops a boob out and starts feeding the baby. Yeah, I know. I mean, she lost her baby in that bizarre hospital robbery, so I guess she's feeling motherly, but it's a real fucking creepy moment in this movie. It looks like she smiles, too, when she begins feeding the baby. It's completely unsettling, to be honest. Look, I'm all for breastfeeding. I think that it should be done, and an option to feed the babies in private or in public should be allowed. I'm all for it. It's natural. It's good for the baby. It's good for the mother. We get a little uptight about it all here. However, this is not her baby. It's just a baby in a shrub. It's weird. it's more off-putting than the rape scene, and I can't even believe I'm saying that. What the hell is happening to me? I know I'm not proud of what I said either. It's like this movie has killed the part of me that is able to reason with reality. Instead, it's left me thinking that this moment of breastfeeding is weirder than an actual rape that happens in this movie. It's not good. And I totally get that you're concerned for my well-being. I mean, next thing you know, I'll be talking to no one at all. You know, I'm rather worried about it all too. Boy, you can say that again. Let's get back to the conclusion of Mistress of the Apes. And that concludes Mistress of the Apes. Nurse, this was a pretty terrible movie. Oh my God, the Mistress of the Apes theme song? Oh my God. Yeah. Anyway, the other featured lady in the cast is Barbara Lee. Now, she didn't have a very long career either. She, much like Newman, only had about a 10-year career or so. This was her final film role. But she too was in a lot of TV shows of the 70s. And I guess you could say that she was the opposite of Newman. While our star was in the early stages of her career, Lee was in the last stage of hers. Now, maybe she saw this movie and was like, oh God, this is garbage. Maybe I should just pack it in and never act again. Maybe I'll think about joining that traveling convent that's coming through town. Hey, what's this? FaceTime? Okay, I guess I'll put in the FaceTime like a real pro in the biz. Hello?
Hey, Jeff, how's it going?
Nurse Disembody, hi.
You've been talking to no one since I left, haven't you?
Yes, that's worrisome.
I'm sure it's okay. You're just used to having me there.
Yeah, that's it. Say, you sound and look great. Are you enjoying your vacation?
Yes, it's beautiful here and very relaxing.
And I see you're working on your tan.
I'm trying to.
Well, that's good.
I wish you were here. You could probably use some relaxation too.
Yeah, you know, I probably do.
Well, did you finish Mistress of the Apes?
Yeah.
How was it?
Oh, it was utter shit. A girl goes looking for her husband, finds poachers, guys rob a hospital, which makes her lose her baby. The husband dies, but she doesn't seem to really care about it and just lets some missing link dude feel her up and stuff. And she ends up breastfeeding a missing link baby that isn't hers. Naturally, of course, there's rape. Why does it always come down to that in these goddamn movies?
I'm sorry. It sounds terrible.
And it was somehow a whole lot of nothing and a whole lot of batshit badness at the same time. There are two really bad songs about being a mistress of the apes.
Oh my.
And then she gets pregnant with a missing link baby that may or may not be one more step closer to a real person. I don't know, but don't let me keep you with my sad story of a shit movie.
That's okay. I'm about to go snorkeling. I just wanted to check in with my favorite B-movie proctologist to see if you were doing okay.
So you're not mad at me anymore?
No, I think I just needed to get my head clear out here on the beach. I know you were only trying to spice up a boring movie. I'm not mad at you or Poop Shoot. Aw, I love you too, Poop Shoot. I will see you when I get home. Maybe next week's movie will be better.
Not likely, but I appreciate the optimism. Have fun, and we'll see you soon.
Okay. Talk to you later. Bye.
Well, at least one of us is having fun this week. No doubt. So I do want to apologize to all my Animaniacs for this movie. This movie is bad. I mean, it's like really poopy bad. I'd probably recommend just about any other of the Larry Buchanan movies, especially ones like Zontar or Mars Needs Women. This one is not one of the fun bad movies, and it kind of makes me feel like I should take a shower to cleanse my soul of the movie. All right, nurse, so tell them where the good things are found. Oh yeah, that's right, she's on a beach somewhere. Hey, Poop Shoot, I think it's time for you to step up. Are you ready? You feeling it, little buddy? That did the trick, Poop Shoot. And don't worry, I mean, Nurse Dee will be back next week. And speaking of, I wonder if Nurse Dee came across any near men while on her vacation. After all, she was pretty sick of the city and needed to make a plan.
There once was a lady who got sick of the city, so she made herself a plan to get out of the city, find her roots in the jungle where a woman is a woman and a man is a man. She went looking for her mate. She didn't find a man, so she found herself a name. Ooh.